Okay, folks, the time is now 5 minutes past 11 a.m. We have lunch all out of the way, and we have all of the hardest parts of the day completed. We had very little carpentry, basically just patching an area where we lost the power attic vent, or fan rather. You can see the house is entirely cleaned up, right? And for everyone who thinks that a 15 cubic yard dumpster is not enough for a roofing project, our roof surface today was 20 square, right? The entire roof has been picked up, and as you can see, we could probably put 2 more roofs in that dumpster, 20 square. You can see our extra materials. I don't suppose we're gonna need those just in case. And the only thing we have left is this ridge vent to go up. And then obviously we have shadow ridge cap. So let's just go up on the roof. It's 11 a.m. We'll see progress. Can't see the full dumpster logo, but shout out to United Environmental Waste Services. Shout out to Primo's Hoagies all over South Jersey. But today we're in Sicklerville, so we get to go into one of our favorites right there on Cross Keys. Shout out to John Carlo and the rest of the group holding us down for lunchtime. So let's just head up this ladder and see what we can find. As you can see, the porch space, right? It's just very small, so we ice and water the whole thing. Doesn't make sense just to run it from the eaves to 36 inches and then paper such a small space. So the entire porch roof is ice and watered. Prime example, so I'm glad I'm coming up here while this gentleman's working. So you hear us talking a lot about this. The first thing is the 5-course diagonal pattern. So what I want you guys to see is that's the end of a sheet. And that sheet runs all the way to here, right? And you see when he does the next course, he loses 6 inches. Then he loses approximately 6 inches, loses 6 inches, loses 6 inches. Okay, once you do that, one full sheet, minus 6 inches, minus 12 inches, then you put the remainder of the sheet, you cut 12 inches off as the 4th course, and the 6-inch piece you cut off first as the 5th course. Now you have a 5-course diagonal pattern, and you just run full sheets. Sorry, guys. So one thing I want you guys to see, when these gentlemen get to the valley, right? They don't drop any tacks in the valley because of high water pressure. The last tacks are right here. And you could see they run this as the lower plane. They run that up the wall, right? So what's gonna happen is this lower plane is run through the valley and up the wall. And then when they run this higher plane, they're gonna run that higher plane to overlap these shingles, right? And then in this valley, they'll take a chalk line and they'll cut the overlapped shingles. So in order for rain that's traveling in this high traffic water area, which you can see is already decked out with ice and water and synthetic paper, it would also have to work its way up behind this layer of shingles, which is not here yet, all the way up and then back behind that layer to get into the valley. So it doesn't happen. The valleys are bulletproof when you do it that way. That's the correct way to do it. You can see the same thing here, right? So here's a prime example where it's completed. This is the lower plane. We're on the right side of the dormer now. This is the lower plane, right? So this lower plane runs up the higher plane, and then this higher plane was run over, and then you can see we just razor strike those lines. So again, that water would have to work its way up under that crease, up this wall 2 feet, and behind another layer of shingles, lest we forget the only thing waiting for it there is more ice and water, metal in those valleys, and synthetic paper in the surrounding area. So here's a prime example where you can see our full package, right? Because we mentioned that starter course of shingles, right? So you have your drip edge, right? You have your synthetic paper. You can see your starter course of shingles running up the rake wall. and then you have your standard landmark shingle on the roof surface. So that's a good look at a few different varieties of the shingles that we talk about. Now, you see what I said about that 5-course diagonal pattern? What happens is, when you start in the bottom left and you run that course once, the 5 courses, then you put a full sheet after every one of the 5 courses. Then you go on top of it. It starts building like a pyramid until eventually what happens is you get all the way down to the eave, and when he comes up and finishes here, you see he's going to be almost to the ridge. And once you're connected from the eave up to the ridge, this guy's just going to be climbing the steps all day long. He's going to be running back down there with full sheets from bottom to top. And then eventually, when he hits that rake wall, right, he's going to be making clean cuts for everything that overhangs. And that's basically it, folks. If you follow that 5-course diagonal pattern faithfully, right, and in this area, keep in mind, the roof was changed due to wind damage. So right off of the bat, we're upgrading from a 3-tab shingle to an architectural or dimensional shingle. Instead of 120 mile per hour wind rating, it's wind rated at 170 miles per hour, right? But on top of that, it's getting all of the proper underlayments. When these roofs, right, that you can see, this roof deck has remained protected since 1987 when the home was built. With the old package, the 3-tab shingle, that these surfaces were riddled with wind damage, and only 15-pound roof felt, yet the sheathing was found to be almost in new construction shape. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that, you know, when the new underlayments go down today, right, it's going to really, really preserve everything that is interior, the bones of the house, the sheathing, support beams, etc., etc. And that's what the roof is designed to do. It's exterior products to protect the interior. Today we tore off the roof, had the benefit to inspect everything and make sure everything was in tip-top shape, and now put on the proper underlayments with the correct shingle package for this area. And there are many shingle packages that are architectural by design, not the same as a CertainTeed shingle. The only thing you have to do is pick up a bundle of each. These are 12 pounds heavier than the next closest competitor, which is GAF. That's because it's a lot more asphalt, it's a lot more robust. Ask these guys which ones they'd rather carry up on a roof all day. Not the CertainTeeds, and that's all we use because they're 12 pounds heavier per bundle. It's a more robust shingle. That's why the manufacturer is happy to extend a warranty to 50 years and make it transferable to the next homeowner, because they're not losing on that deal, right? The product lasts and they know it. And if their competitors were as confident about the product that they manufactured, then obviously they couldn't wait to do the same thing, but they don't. Why is that? So today the roof is going to be upgraded, be everything that it could and should be. As I'm up here checking for work, again, that's what I'm looking for, making sure that that 5-course diagonal pattern, as per the manufacturer, is being followed right to a T. In addition, you can see some of the step flashing here. So concerns on a roof like this, you always look at components, right? And up here, there aren't any. On the front side, we have this one pipe, vent pipe, so we'll flash that correctly with ice and water, right? And we'll make sure that it doesn't leak. It'll get a brand new metallic pipe collar. And same thing here. We have the chimney stack, so we need to be careful. You can see he's already done the flashing. We're not removing that stack. So we use a mixture of ice and water as well as silicone, and then we shingle it very tightly around the top end of that neck, right? So you worry about components like vent pipes, chimney stacks, you know, valleys. On this roof, we have really steep slopes on the dormer here, and then also a little bit more moderate on the main, but it disperses water quickly, so we don't worry about any of those things. We're in good shape as far as that is concerned. And then the very last thing, right, we're going to be able to upgrade this home that only had a power attic fan that admittedly the homeowners may have only touched a few times since they've been in the home. Today they're going to get ventilation throughout the entire ridge length. So you'll have over the dormer, over the main ridge, and then even over the garage ridge lengths as well. So anywhere that we could open circulation of air on the roof system, we are doing that today. And yeah, so we're well on our way. As soon as we're getting ventilation installed, I'll get back to you to show you those details. But again, folks, entire home is cleaned. Every piece of the old roof is in the dumpster. The property's been put back to normal. We're still well before lunchtime. I don't expect that we'll be here much beyond 2 p.m. today.